Hi, my name is Jasmine. I went to UC Claremont where I majored in English literature. I graduated from Claremont in 2019, where I then went on to UC's main campus and continued my journey with English literature with a focus on cultural studies, and I graduated there at the end of 2020. Going to UC Claremont was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I always recommend Claremont to people. I loved the campus. I loved how intimate the class settings were, and they just worked really well for me because I felt like it was an environment that helped me learn, but I also got to know a lot of my professors, and they honestly helped me choose my major and continue even when there were times where I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Special shout out to some of those professors, Cassie Fetters, Phoebe Reeves, Kim Jacobs Beck, Elizabeth Terry, fabulous people, some of the best people I've met on this journey so far, who have really inspired me to keep going and put energy into something that I love, which is awesome. If you talk to anybody who I've ever spoken to about college, I've always said, if I could have done all 4 years of my college at UC Claremont, I absolutely would have. It was one of my favorite experiences ever, especially coming from someone who had a lot of anxiety about choosing a college and starting that journey. I recommend it for people who maybe aren't super sure, because you do really get to be, you're not just a number at Claremont. You are a student. People care. I felt like I really found my footing. I also got to know a lot of my peers, which is awesome. I loved it. I also noticed that with my degree, a lot of those same people that I were meeting in those beginning classes were also going on this journey with me, so I didn't feel so alone. It was incredible. One of the best experiences I had while I was at Claremont was editing for East Fork. I originally had submitted work to East Fork for a class where our professors were encouraging us to send in work, and so I thought, why not? I'll just send in work, and they actually ended up taking it, which was so exciting because I had never thought of myself as somebody who could have work published. And having my work published in East Fork is something that I still put on my resume today because I am proud of what I did. And truthfully, before I started college, I didn't even know that literary journals were truly a thing, or that I could submit work, and that there was a whole world of literary journals that I could submit work to, which might sound kind of dumb, but really opened my eyes to that world, that I didn't have to have a book or an article in a magazine for people to read my work. I could submit it to these literary journals where people like us can read and analyze and get access to work that maybe we otherwise wouldn't, which is amazing. While I worked on the journal, I met some of the best people. My team was awesome. I really felt like I connected with a group of like-minded individuals, and it was just awesome. After editing at East Fork, when I went onto main campus, I took a class where we revamped the Short Vine Journal, and that was really positive for me as well, because I got to see what it takes to restart a literary journal and work with people on that end for it. And I took a lot of the tools that I learned at East Fork and took it to Short Vine, because I helped in the poetry section there, where I helped make decisions on what we should accept and what we should reject, and how to properly handle and respond to those acceptance and rejections, which rejections are never fun, but learning the tools to, do it in a way that's both professional and mindful of the person submitting is, really helpful, but stuff that I still use today. And as far as personal creative writing, that's not something I put a whole bunch of energy into today, but that's not to say it's absent completely. That's just never been one of my strongest suits, or something that I felt I was really good at. But like I said, not absent at all. Since moving from East Fork to Short Vine, I do also edit at Milk and Cake Press on the side, which was founded by Kim Jacobs Beck. She helped me, get that internship, and I still do that today. And I still get to read works that I wouldn't necessarily get to read otherwise. And again, I love the conversation of narrowing down what we think would be good for publication or what we can't necessarily take, because we get so many entries that are amazing, and it's just really awesome because I'm getting to read stuff that I wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. And I had just mentioned that creative writing isn't something that I do personally, just because it's something that I like to be on the back end of. I like to be the behind the scenes and the consumer of it. And since graduating, I actually work with Women of Tomorrow, which is a foundation that was founded by women to help spread the word about topics that aren't necessarily always talked about and aren't necessarily accessible to a lot of people. And with my degree and the experience I have taken, starting all the way back to Claremont up to where I'm at now, I research for Women of Tomorrow, and I pull statistics and condense a lot of this research into, bite-sized pieces for people to read. And I help create activism sheets where people can see all of this information in a little graphic, and it's informative and awesome, if I do say so myself. Additionally, Women of Tomorrow has a podcast that is through the Broadway Network, and again, I do research for that. I've helped write questions for the guests that they have on. It's been really a positive experience, and I'm so sorry this probably is way longer than you were asking for, but I could just go on and on about the tools that I have learned from Claremont and the professors and the people that I have met that have helped me with my career today. And I will be forever thankful and grateful for that experience. And I am so happy that you have asked me to speak and share a little bit of my experience. I could go on and on because I loved Claremont. It was the best. I would go back today if I could. Like if there was something I wanted to do, I would definitely start at Claremont. So again, thank you so much for letting me talk. I just cannot express my gratitude enough. So thank you guys. Congrats. Happy 50th.